Hi everyone, today we're speaking to Michael Perez and I'm Nadia Harper, and it's just absolutely fantastic to be here with you, Michael.
And it's fantastic to have you here, Nadia.
Thank you. And Michael's been very gracious with his time with me today. We've just had a really fantastic day brainstorming so many new ideas, and I'm really excited to share with everybody what Michael's been up to. So Michael, we haven't seen you for a while. It's like you dropped off the face of the earth. What on earth happened?
I dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
The thing was, I didn't realize it dropped off that sharply.
I missed you. Come on.
Well, it was problematic. I had some issues going on that are not things that I really enjoyed happening. But that's one of the things about life, I think, is that sometimes you're presented with challenges.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing that I've learned about challenges is that the worst things that have ever happened to me are some of the best things that have ever happened.
Oh, I totally agree. Me too.
And so essentially I had some health challenges. I had some other things going on that were problematic for quite a while. And but I'm glad that I'm on the other side of it, and that's really.
So tell me what you learned. What did you learn from it?
Well, first off, not to stick my fingers in the electrical sockets.
No, don't, and especially if it's wet.
That's correct. There are all sorts of problems involved there. No, but one of the things that I've really taken on board, recently, and it's been a very important thing for me to think about, are the ways in which it is important that people are able, especially with some of the things that we know, some of the things that we've learned about how we can help other people to control their pain, how you can control your own pain, how you can affect your mind and body system. And
very, very exciting.
It's wonderful stuff. And simultaneously, there's an importance to the ecology of a system. And essentially, what I mean by that is that, for example, let's say that you were having a pain.
Yes.
And let's say that you did something in order to make sure that you weren't feeling this pain. So, you did all the usual tricks. You put yourself in a trance, you played with the pain, took it outside, changed the color, did all the things you need to do in order to make yourself have a different experience of that pain. And let's say that pain was a warning to you. Maybe it was telling you, these boots are a little too tight.
Because people say that, don't they? They say if something's hurting. It's because
if something's hurting, there is a pretty good chance that something has a real message for you that you actually need to do something. You need to take care of yourself. You need to see a doctor. You need to make sure that you're getting proper medical treatment. So whatever you're doing, you need to respect the ecology of that message that is being sent. Now, sometimes that message effectively either is unnecessary because now you know.
Yeah.
If I had a toothache, then as long as I know to go to the dentist and get the tooth taken care of,
the pain should stop.
Yeah, it's okay for me to stop the pain. On the other hand, if I decide, I've got a cavity, I'm just going to turn the pain off,
right,
and then never see the dentist.
Big mistake.
And that's really the difference. And I think that again, just because you can change the way that you feel about things in your life doesn't mean that it's always the right time for you to change it. Yeah. First, you really have to pay attention to the things that are going on in your life, and to make sure that you're really dealing with them in a very healthy way.
Right.
And in a way that really respects who you are as a system.
Yeah.
Because we are biological systems, and we do have to make sure that we're maintaining ourselves properly.
I love it, Michael. I know that you've been doing so much work with hypnosis and pain control recently.
I've been doing so much work in hypnosis as well. So.
In hypnosis, and I love that too, because isn't that the best way to work, in hypnosis?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I know you're doing really exciting stuff.
Well, essentially, one of the things that has fascinated me over the last few years, because it's something that I've really had to give a lot of attention to, is the way that the mind works in different states of consciousness.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the thing is that essentially, if you want to think about it this way, there are certain mindsets in which you are better able to do things than other things.
Right. Right.
So, like for example, the classic example: someone's driving a car.
Right.
If you're really trying to pay attention to the road, as they always tell you to,
Yeah.
it's interesting that sometimes when you're really paying attention, you actually tend not to drive nearly so well
Right.
as you might if you are just in a driving trance.
Yeah.
You're just there, you know, you've got the radio going, you've got
Right.
something else going on,
Zoning
you're thinking
out.
about, you're a million miles away, and yet somehow you managed to completely navigate.
Yeah.
You didn't hit any other cars, you didn't
Right.
run any red lights,
Right.
you didn't show up on any of the traffic
Yeah.
cameras. You know, you're there, you're safe.
I gotta tell you, I'm always surprised when I actually drive from Las Vegas to California, or
Yes.
from California to Las Vegas, and it sounds dreadful, but I'm always actually surprised that I made it there. You know, how did I get here?
Well, how many
Yeah.
times have you driven somewhere
Mm.
and then you realize,
Yeah.
wait a minute, how did I get here?
Yeah.
I don't remember the trip.
Right.
And that's because it didn't necessarily happen
Yeah.
in the kind of states of consciousness that we normally think of as being
Right.
regular conscious states.
Totally.
You know, how many times have you had a daydream
Mm.
and you just start going
It's hard
off?
to count all the times that we go into our own trances.
Oh, in fact, sometimes
Yeah.
you're sitting there having a daydream with your eyes open and you're staring straight ahead and you're not
Yeah.
realizing even what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, what's going on? What am I
Yeah.
seeing?
Yeah.
Because you're totally disconnected
Yeah.
from your external sensory experience.
Is that what happens when you're having a daydream and your eyes just go really fuzzy all of a sudden?
Sometimes they go fuzzy, sometimes they just literally, without you realizing it, they turn off. Your eyes can be wide open and you're just not aware of what you're seeing. Because you're
You're not
completely
there.
off. You're not there.
Yeah.
And of course you are there.
Mm.
And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that there's only you in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nobody else.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get any extra passengers. There's
Yeah.
only you. And so that means that whether it's you consciously, whether it's you in attention, or whether it's you unconsciously and your attention is focused elsewhere, there's only ever you in there. But that doesn't mean that you're not perceiving things on multiple levels. There are states of consciousness that you can go into which allow you to perceive much more than usual. Allow you to see more, allow you to hear more, allow you to do more. There are states of consciousness that allow you to perceive things like pain differently. There are states of consciousness that allow you to perform differently. You know, there's a very
I like
interesting,
that.
but there's an interesting neurological experiment
Yeah, tell us.
where they literally suppress a part of your brain, and suddenly people can become savant painters,
Right.
and they can.
Interesting. Oh my God.
And they can suddenly start doing photo reproductions of things, and it works for about 15 minutes. They just take a very powerful
Is it by
electromagnet.
suggestion?
No, it's a very powerful electromagnet. And they literally turn off a part of your brain.
Wow.
But once that part is turned off, it's the part that restrains other parts of your brain. And so suddenly you're able to do these things.
Wow.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can do it with the equipment, but I didn't want to have to carry around a multi-million-dollar
Of course not.
focused electromagnetic imager, you know, with me all the time.
Right.
So if I'm not going to do it with electromagnets, then one of the things that I can learn to do, and that I've really been exploring, is to go into high-performance states of consciousness. States of consciousness in which people can do things that they could not otherwise ordinarily do.
That's what I'm really excited about.
And the other thing that I've been addressing is a lot of the, you know, Bandler and Grinder did some really, Bandler and Grinder being the founders of NLP, the people who did the original incredible work in order to define the field.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work on understanding how Milton Erickson, who is the greatest hypnotist of the 20th century and the founder of indirect hypnosis, they did a lot of work in terms of discovering the way that his work worked.
Yeah.
And because I've had situations in my life where I've had to directly focus on what it is possible to do in an